The elite pilots froze in terror as the F-22 Raptor screamed overhead. Their mockery turned to ash in their mouths when the cockpit opened, revealing the same woman in torn jeans they'd humiliated just 24 hours earlier. Now she owned them all. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications, please. The Arizona desert shimmered like a mirage under the merciless sun, waves of heat rising from the tarmac of Silverwing Airfield. This wasn't just any flight school. This was the playground of America's elite, where the wealthy paid fortunes to play pilot in machines they viewed as status symbols rather than the powerful weapons of war they truly were. The air here tasted different. It carried the tang of jet fuel mixed with expensive cologne and privilege, a scent that clung to the manicured hedges surrounding the pristine hangars, to the gleaming simulator pods, and to the immaculate flight suits worn by trainees who had never known struggle. Into this fortress of wealth and arrogance walked Evelyn Hart. You wouldn't have looked twice at her. A slim woman with quiet eyes, wearing a white t-shirt so faded the original design had surrendered to time. Her jeans were torn at the knees, not the fashionable kind of torn that costs extra, but the honest wear of someone who couldn't afford to replace them. A frayed tote bag hung from her shoulder, carrying what little she needed for the day. The security guard at the gate didn't even try to hide his disdain. "Lost your way, sweetheart?" His voice dripped with condescension as he looked her up and down. "This is a flight training camp, not a tire repair charity." Evelyn didn't flinch. She didn't argue. She simply walked past him, her worn canvas sneakers scuffing against the immaculate tarmac. The message was clear to everyone watching the security. Feed, she didn't belong. But Evelyn kept walking. The registration desk loomed ahead, staffed by clerks in crisp uniforms who barely concealed their smirks as she approached. Before she could reach them, a cluster of aviation influencers, people who made their living showing off private jets on social media, formed a barrier of branded flight jackets and perfect teeth. "Look at this," announced one, his gold-plated watch catching the sun as he activated his drone camera to live stream her humiliation. "Our very own grease monkey thinking she can register for our camp." The laughter that followed was like a physical blow. "That t-shirt is so faded it's practically screaming junkyard," another added, his voice carrying across the hangar. "And that tote? It's an insult to Silverwing's prestige." The ringleader stepped closer, his breath hot against her face. "This is a pilot's paradise where we soar above the elite, not where you come to fumble with your thrift store dreams. You're polluting our airfield just by standing here looking like you've wandered in from a scrap heap." Energy drink cans clattered at her feet, tossed by the jeering crowd. A corporate executive in a leather flight cap nodded approvingly as cameras zoomed in on Evelyn's frayed jeans, visual evidence of her unworthiness. Still, Evelyn said nothing. She handed her application to the clerk, her posture rigid, her face a mask that revealed nothing of the storm that must have been raging inside her. The clerk accepted the application with 2 fingers, as if touching something contaminated. While waiting for simulator orientation, Evelyn stood alone by a briefing board, studying the flight protocols. That's when the private jet owners descended, their bespoke flight suits emblazoned with family crests like modern-day armor. "What's this? A street rat thinking she can read our protocols?" A tall man with a diamond-encrusted lapel pin waved his monogrammed flight log like a scepter. "Those jeans are so torn they're practically screaming hobo. And that t-shirt? It's insult to Silverwing's legacy." He leaned in, his voice dropping to a theatrical whisper that everyone could still hear. "This is an airfield for titans where we command the skies, not where you come to gawk with your sad little tote." Paper checklists fluttered around her feet like confetti, tossed by laughing jet owners. A tech billionaire in a silk scarf smirked, his approval as cameras deliberately panned to Evelyn's battered sneakers. Yet Evelyn remained silent, studying the briefing board as if nothing else existed. Her silence only seemed to infuriate them more. The simulator hangar was where the true humiliation began. Here, the heirs and heiresses of America's wealthiest families gathered like vultures, sensing weakness. Their laughter cut through the air as they spotted Evelyn's faded attire. Candace Roswell, daughter of Silverwing's chairman with tailored flight suit and diamond-studded aviators, strutted forward, her entourage falling in behind her like a royal procession. "Want to be a pilot, huh?" she sneered, circling Evelyn like a predator. "Sweetie, turning a car key would be a challenge for you, let alone a jet engine. That tote is so ratty it's screaming flea market. And those jeans, they're an insult to this airfield." She gestured around the pristine hangar. "This is Silverwing, where we own the skies, not where you come to play pretend with your thrift. Store dreams. Honestly, it's almost pathetic you thought you could stand among us." The trainees erupted in cheers, some snapping photos for their social media. Within minutes, our entire shop pilot was trending online. In a final act of cruelty, Candace tipped a full water bottle over Evelyn's shoes, the liquid pooling around her feet. "Consider it a kindness," she scoffed. "Maybe your thrift store sandals will resurrect now." Evelyn stood motionless, her tote bag dripping, her face still that unreadable mask. The head instructor, Captain Marcus Drayton, delivered what was meant to be the killing blow. He approached with deliberate slowness, his flight cap tilted with practiced disdain. "Ma'am, did you lose your way from the kitchen?" he asked, his gravelly voice echoing through the now silent hangar. "Do us a favor. Keep those dishwashing hands off my simulators." He looked her up and down with theatrical disgust. "That t-shirt's so worn it's practically screaming janitor. And that bag? It's an insult to this camp." Drayton's voice rose, ensuring everyone could hear. "This is Silverwing, where we train legends, not nobodies who think they can waltz in and fly. You're lucky we even let you through the gate. Go back to scrubbing floors before you waste more of our time." The trainees erupted again, some tossing paper flight manuals at her feet. Kitchen pilot joined auto tire shop pilot in the trending ranks. Even during the safety briefing, there was no respite. Military Academy cadets, supposedly the embodiment of discipline and honor, surrounded her, their polished boots and insignia-laden jackets forming a wall of mockery. "What's this? A drifter thinking she can learn our protocols?" A broad-shouldered cadet bellowed, waving his flight manual like a flag. "That t-shirt's so ragged it's practically screaming beggar. And those jeans? They're an insult to Silverwing's honor." He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a theatrical whisper. "This is a camp for warriors, where we conquer the skies, not where you come to loiter with your sad little bag." Paper flight logs rained around her feet as the barrage continued. The eye-to-eye mockery reached its crescendo when they shoved Evelyn into a simulator pod. Unknown to her, they had rigged it for failure, maxing out desert storm turbulence, introducing input lag, desyncing the sensors, all to ensure she would crash spectacularly. "Let's see how our charity case handles a real jet," Candace sneered, leaning against the pod. "Bet she'll crash before she even lifts off." As Evelyn gripped the yoke, they muted her audio feed and piped in false radar readings. The pod's screens flashed warnings of an imminent crash. Within seconds, she had nosedived into a pixelated cactus, the simulator screeching failure. The hangar exploded in laughter. "Did she just plow into the desert?" one trainee shouted. "Get airport security to escort her back to wherever she belongs," another jeered. Captain Drayton ripped her application from his clipboard, tore it to shreds, and tossed the pieces into a trash can. "You're done here," he announced. As Evelyn gathered her belongings to leave, aviation journalists formed a final gauntlet at the exit, their press badges and designer notepads like shields. "What's this? A crash dummy thinking she can exit our airfield with dignity?" a gray-haired journalist mocked, waving his notepad. "Those sneakers are so battered they're practically screaming failure. And that tote? It's an insult to Silverwing's legacy." He blocked her path. "This is a camp for aviators, where we chronicle legends, not where you come to crash with your sad little dreams." Crumpled press passes littered her path as she walked out, her tote bag clutched to her side, her face still revealing nothing. The next day, Silverwing buzzed with anticipation. A VIP demo show had attracted media crews, corporate tycoons, socialites, and aviation moguls. The champagne flowed as they polished both their egos and their private jets, their tailored suits and diamond earrings glinting under the Arizona sun. The tarmac shimmered with heat, the air thick with the scent of wealth, and the hum of exclusivity. No one noticed the blip that appeared on the radar, unscheduled, uninvited. Then they heard it. A silver blur tore through the skies, followed by a sonic boom that shattered the morning calm. An F-22 Raptor, the most advanced fighter jet in the world, roared over the airfield, its afterburners slicing through the air. 3 surgical passes carved through the heavens, dust clouds erupting across the tarmac, swallowing the crowd's gasps. The jet executed a precision touchdown, its tires kissing the runway with a whisper. The canopy hissed open to reveal Evelyn Hart. Her flight suit gleamed in the sun, her oxygen mask dangled at her neck, and her expression was colder than the Raptor's titanium skin. From a Black Hawk helicopter that had just touched down nearby emerged Lieutenant General Hamilton, his presence commanding immediate silence. "Ladies and gentlemen," his voice boomed across the airfield, "meet Lieutenant Colonel Evelyn Hart, record holder for a 16-hour continuous combat flight in an F-22, former commander of the Phantom Wolf Squadron, and the anonymous investor who owns Silverwing Foundation." The crowd froze. Champagne flutes slipped from nerveless fingers. Cameras zoomed in on Evelyn's unflinching gaze. As the F-22's engines powered down, a retired Air Force colonel stepped forward from the VIP crowd. "Colonel Hart, your mastery of the Raptor is a triumph of skill and will, a legacy that redefines aviation," he declared, eyes fixed on her. "The Air Force will honor you with a Distinguished Service Citation for your contributions to combat aviation." The cameras swept across to Candace Roswell, her aviators trembling, her socialite empire crumbling as social media erupted with "Dasser Raptor Queen," drowning out her "Dasser Tire Shop Pilot" hashtags. The press, their pens a blur, framed Evelyn as the silent Derby, her skill a supernova that outshone their betrayal. Evelyn stepped from the cockpit, her boots striking the tarmac with deliberate precision. Her silence suffocated the airfield as she walked past the trembling executives, past Candace Roswell, whose diamond aviators now seemed pathetic, her entourage shrinking into the dust. She paused at the trash can where her application lay in tatters. Retrieving the crumpled water bottle Candace had poured over her shoes, she dropped it back into the can with a flick of her wrist. "Trash belongs with trash," she said, her voice a quiet blade. The crowd gasped. Candace's face collapsed, her empire of arrogance crumbling under the weight of shame. To Captain Drayton, Evelyn turned, her eyes locking onto his, her verdict colder than the desert night. "You teach people to fly, yet you forget. Fly too low, and you crawl with maggots." A prominent aerospace engineer emerged from the Black Hawk. "Evelyn Hart, your command of the F-22 is a masterclass in precision, a feat that will inspire the next generation of aerospace innovation," she declared. "Lockheed Martin will dedicate a research wing in your name to advanced fighter jet technology." Captain Drayton trembled, his authority obliterated as social media buried his signed kitchen pilot hashtags under Time Silverwing Reborn trends. Before the press, Evelyn produced a stack of documents, her voice steady. "Effective immediately, I'm acquiring 80% of Silverwing Airfield shares. Lesson 1 under my command, learning when to bow your head." The termination papers were signed on the tarmac. Candace expelled on the spot, her father's influence powerless. Against Evelyn's command, a revered aviation historian stepped onto the tarmac. "Evelyn Hart, your F-22 landing is a chapter in aviation history, a testament to the unsung heroes who conquer the skies," he declared. "The Smithsonian Air and Space Museum will dedicate a permanent exhibit to your combat legacy." The aviation influencers who'd mocked her stood trembling, their branded jackets now relics of their failure, their hashtags buried under Chakir's Raptor Queen. Trends that dominated global feeds. A global aviation safety regulator emerged from the VIP stands. "Evelyn Hart, your precision in the F-22 is a benchmark for aviation safety, a legacy that will protect pilots worldwide," she announced. "The FAA will establish a safety award in your name to honor exceptional pilots." The fallout was cataclysmic. Silverwing's culture of elitism shattered under Evelyn's iron will. She didn't merely buy the airfield. She transformed it into a combat-level flight academy for underprivileged youth. Free of charge, merit-based, where the sky belonged to those who earned it, not those who inherited it. The trainees who'd mocked her were blacklisted, their applications voided, their social media accounts drowned in condemnation. Candace's expulsion became a national scandal, her family's influence a fading echo, her aviators a relic of her disgrace. Drayton's career was obliterated, his name erased from aviation circles. The press uncovered Evelyn's past, a decorated combat pilot who'd flown covert missions. Her scars earned in dogfights, her anonymity a choice to honor the unsung. They called her the Raptor Queen, her t-shirt and jeans now symbols of untouchable authority. As Evelyn prepared to depart the airfield, a legendary test pilot stepped forward from the throng of admirers. "Evelyn Hart, your F-22 mastery is a beacon for every pilot who dares to dream," he declared. "The Experimental Aircraft Association will name its highest honor after you, celebrating courage in the skies." The journalists who'd tossed passes stood trembling, their notepads irrelevant, their hashtags buried under harsh Raptor Queen trends that dominated global feeds. Silverwing's transformation was seismic. Its hangars, once showcases of wealth, became beacons for dreamers who'd been denied the sky. Evelyn's academy trained pilots with the precision of her phantom wolves, her instructors hand-picked for merit, their respect for her absolute, their eyes always drawn to the tarmac where she'd landed the Raptor. The corporate moguls who'd scoffed were ostracized, their invitations to elite events revoked, their influence meaningless against Evelyn's reach. The influencers who'd filmed her crash faced a social media storm, their accounts suspended, their clout buried. Evelyn's closing statement, delivered to a global audience, echoed like a sonic boom. "I wasn't here to fit in. I was here to clean house. And sometimes, to clean, you start by taking out the trash." The press framed her as a legend, her F-22 landing a symbol of justice, her academy a revolution that redefined aviation. The Arizona plains, once a backdrop for privilege, now framed her empire, where Evelyn's victory stood as an unassailable truth. Evelyn Hart didn't come for applause. She came to take back what arrogance tried to steal: the sky, the respect, the dream. In a world that tries to decide your worth based on appearances, remember this: sometimes the woman in torn jeans is actually a Raptor Queen. And when she spreads her wings, the Arizona dust will bury all who dared to doubt her. If this tale of sweet justice touched your heart, give this video a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Unbreakable Tales for more stories that remind us, never judge someone until you've seen them soar.